Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, live online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, the holiday season right around the corner, and we've got a big story happening right here in our own backyard. Let's jump right in. From championship titles to wins in the classroom, Rich Thompson has helped countless Nighthawks achieve their dreams at National Park College. Now it's his turn. NPC announced this week that Coach Thompson is heading back to the big leagues after being selected as a minor league manager in the Seattle Mariners organization. Joining us this morning to tell us more, Coach Rich Thompson. Coach, good morning, or maybe as they say back home in Australia, good day, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, cheers, guys. I appreciate you guys for having me.
Coach, what a story. From Australia, you come to America as a teenager to play professional baseball. You wind up in the big leagues for 6 seasons with the Angels, the A's, and the Jays. You've played in the World Baseball Classic a couple of times. You've even been a part of the Savannah Bananas World Tour. You're a former Arkansas Traveler pitcher. You even earned a silver medal in the 2004 Olympics in Athens. In 2020, you joined National Park College. At that time, you're the assistant baseball coach, helping lift the Nighthawk baseball program off the ground. 5 years later, numerous awards, accomplishments, achievements. But going back to that beginning piece, why was coaching junior college baseball the next step and the right step for you in your career?
As a Hot Springs resident, I met my wife while being in Arkansas in 2006 and 2007, and we ended up settling here. She's from Hot Springs, and I love this community, and I'm a great advocate, I think, for this community. And I was excited to hear of the new challenge of adding athletics to National Park College. And funnily enough, I think I had a lesson or something, and my wife and my son came to the announcement of baseball. And I put my kind of hat in the ring of, hey, man, I'd come in and do the assistant job, and I really wanted it to succeed. We hadn't had this since the 90s, and the biggest piece for our community, I was like, man, we have to do this right the first time. And I knew I was going to put every ounce of effort into doing that. And, thank goodness I did, because this, phone call last week would probably never have happened if I hadn't taken that first initial leap of faith to join something special.
And of course, you mentioned your wife as well, and I know you're a very strong family man. Your wife is another leader in this community as well. And just to derail things briefly here, it's quite the interesting story about how you met your wife. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were had a day off. I was a traveler at the time. I think I'd been in the town for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and we were completely in the wrong place. And, she was taking some laundry to go do from her apartment. She was living downtown Little Rock, and we were meant to be in North Little Rock. We just happened to be in the wrong place with pre-cell phone, really knowing what the heck we were doing. And we flagged it down on the side of the street. A few weeks later, we ended up, touching base a few times, had another off day, and went out, and the rest is history. 2 kids later, and been Hot Springs resident since 2008. And love Arkansas and love Hot Springs, and it's not a bad place to be for sure.
Coach, in knowing from backgrounds and obviously having coaching in my family and stuff, it's tough sometimes. You're a part of the Hot Springs community. You have been for quite some time. And how did the family take as far as coming out and saying, look, the time is here, and we have a good chance of going to another part of the country as you've been well traveled already. How was that when you first mentioned it to the wife and the rest of the family?
It was probably the biggest concern on my side. I've always sort of said that the professional game is very difficult on families. I've watched it. I was very fortunate to be a professional for a long time, and I watched the coaches struggle with those things and get to see their family very rarely. And it's probably what has kept me out of the professional game, longer than I, potentially would have tried to be. It's definitely a new challenge. It's when you get that call and you have a professional situation on hand. We kind of talked about the fact that if this may be the biggest regret if I do not try. It's that one thing that this is the opportunity that was given, and I came to America in the first place to be a big leaguer, and however deep that is built inside of me, I definitely can't try and shake that.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's probably stitched inside my inner being, honestly, of what this is and who I am. And I was fortunate enough to be a professional at 17 years old. So this is all I really knew until I even came here at Arkansas, and just the future of what this could hold for me. I probably couldn't go from National Park College to the major leagues, but let's hope this is a stepping stone to something really special in the future.
When you mention your time at NPC, 5 years goes by in the blink of an eye. You became the head baseball coach after COVID, some coaching shifts within Nighthawk Nation. You became the head coach where you won more than 100 games with Nighthawk baseball. You became the athletic director in 2022, and you helped lead NPC men and women's soccer, women's basketball to Region 2 titles. Nighthawk men's basketball won the national championship a couple years ago. Multiple all-region, all-American, academic all-American honors were dished out, and numerous student athletes went on to continue competing at the next level. What achievement or achievements stands out as the most impactful for you?
That's the beautiful thing about what this became. When I first got in, it was a fledgling program. It was getting off the ground. Nothing was established. We had growth in mind and expectations, but to I guess get those things to fruition and build them brick by brick and day by day, and the heartaches and all the other pieces of what that was, and the hours I haven't seen my family too. But we were always looking to be the premier program in Arkansas, and that was what I was here for from day one. And probably the biggest thing that has had a major impact on me is on the baseball side, we've sent 50 kids onto the next level in 5 years, and 14 of those guys have gone Division I. But I have a map in my office with a bunch of pins on it, and it is dotted with all the names of the guys that continue to play. And what I love about junior college athletics is we are here to change ceilings. That is the greatest part of this job, is you bring a kid in who this was their initial level, and then you can change their trajectory in a short period of time if you do a good job. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And with the announcement yesterday, I'm very fortunate to have had so many players reached out and thank me and congratulate me for our time here together at NPC.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the push pin board, because I always thought that was a very special thing. A lot of guys might have a map of the United States in their office and it has push pins everywhere, maybe all the games that they coached or all the places that they visited. But like you said, it's where you've sent guys to the next level. In sports, we always say things like, this person does more than what the stat sheet shows. I feel like that really applies to you as well. The stat sheet shows your wins and losses. It shows the Region 2 titles. It shows the Natty, but it doesn't always show the lives that have been impacted. It doesn't show the role that you had in helping Majestic Park grow into what it is today, or the relationships that you forged with the Hot Springs Fire Department, for example, and our other public servants in the community. And for that, first, we say thank you. But looking at the big picture, what is it that inspires you to go beyond what's asked of you in your job description?
I think I would say most coaches have the same feeling or calling, that somebody gave their energy to me to follow my dreams, and something that I was passionate about And maybe they even created that passion. It started maybe as a little fire, and they put some gasoline on it, and the world can change. And I think that's probably the one part of my journey, which I was very fortunate, is that I've got to see the world. I've got to do some very, very cool things that not a lot of people get to do. And I want to share that with the next group. Somebody spent so many coaches spent so many hours and so many probably sleepless nights on the betterment of my teammates and me and how that is. And I don't know how, and probably for very little financial gain at times. But it's all about caring about the people and the kids and making it better for the rest of the world. Like, these kids are going to be members of society and members of the community, and if we can just build that fire for those kids, and they're going to be much better fathers and husbands and maybe coaches in the future because of maybe their short little time here.
Coach, obviously the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, you've already answered that question more than once during your lifespan, not only of coaching, but just in life, being practical. But, this is obviously going to be another one of those stepping stones that you're going to be able to just what you talked about, help out other people. And I've got a saying, I always say, people helping people. But now at this level, you're going to be able to reach out to a bigger and much more familiar as far as the target area, not just with baseball, but for a lot of young men out in that area. Maybe they're trying to get to the next level or they're trying to become coaches, but this just gives you a bigger platform now to reach out to more kids, huh?
100%. And I really want to give back to Central Arkansas in general, and Arkansas as a state baseball.
Exactly.
And that is really where my love is right now. Obviously, I have my passion projects of Australia and how I help these kids in junior college athletics, and but then obviously Arkansas baseball in general. But and being able to, I'm still going to come home and contribute to that. Probably the biggest thing is just this is just I'm excited to be back in professional baseball. I got it taken away from me in an injury in 2013. I kind of joked with my wife, like, the heart got ripped out of my back, and really, in general, just because. And something that I really want to give to this next part is the 10 years following the game can be very, very difficult, but you don't have to put it on a pedestal. You can start with kids. I mean, I started with little kids in the off season, and 8 to 14-year-olds is rare. Where I was really honing my craft early with the coaching side, and it developed into being able to help the older athletes. But my experience of getting out of the game at the professional level and going through those heartaches and challenging times when it's all you've ever known, and that's partly who your life was. It's a lot of your identity if you've been in that game for, especially since you were 17 through basically 30-some years old. So probably the biggest part is just giving that knowledge, post-game knowledge, that, hey, even if you're out for a little bit, maybe there is a chance to come back in if you can just put in the hours and put in the work.
Exactly. You never know these days, huh?
But you really just don't. Like, you never know what small decision can change your life.
And of course, Coach, everybody loves a good full circle story. You came to this country to play professional baseball, and there's been, some ups and downs along the way, and you got out of the game for a little bit, but coming back into it, I know that you're excited. What is it maybe that you're most excited about at managing at this level? Of course, it's the Seattle Mariners organization. This is an MLB program that is pretty good right now. One win away from the World Series last year. Some of the biggest names in the sport playing right now. What can you tell me about some of the things that you're really excited about getting to work with the players and the staff within this organization?
I love player development. I've always said that. The biggest passion of my career as a player was, how do I make myself better? The Seattle Mariners are in an amazing situation right now where they're kind of ranked third in all of professional baseball for the system. So the talent pool is really, really good. I think it's a really great time to be in the Mariners organization with how the big league level is playing, and hopefully that that one game away can turn into a World Series this year. But the biggest part on the player development side and the managing side is I need to find ways to make those young men ready day one when they get to the big leagues to contribute. And that's our biggest part right now is if they go to the big leagues and they're not ready, I need to make sure they are. And obviously have the coaches in line. And I've been very fortunate to be athletic director here and have to manage the people and athletes and all of the pieces that come with the managerial job that I now have put myself, I think, in a better position than I would have even been 3 years ago before the athletic director role. I can see it from a little bit bigger picture and a little bit of 30,000 feet instead of right there in front of you and just as a baseball coach.
And of course, when you look back at your time at NPC, what do you hope people say about the culture that you helped build in Nighthawk Nation?
Mate, I think we're all custodians of great programs. And, somebody will be here long after and I think they'll do a great job. I really do just hope that they know that I showed up every single day and I cared for the kids, and the students, because that's the biggest impact you can make. It's how you can quickly make impact on everybody's lives. And, you send 60 kids out into the world every year and that can make a big wave. If you've done it the right way. And then I hope that everyone just, I tried to come to work every day and show everybody respect and be a friend and be a coworker that they wanted to collaborate with and look after.
Coach Rich Thompson of National Park College. Coach, congratulations on the new opportunity. We're so excited to see you turn the page and head into your next chapter. Hey, and we're rooting for you every step of the way. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck on this new journey unfolding for you.
Thank you, mate.
Good luck to you, Coach. Man, that's something special, man. That is something special, Mark. Unbelievable to contribute what he's done here and then around the world and now getting on to the next dream, so to speak. 'Cause, think about that. And you've got that want. You've got that once, because once you've tasted it, I'm going to tell you what. And now he's able to help other kids on the next level. Unbelievable.
Hey, on the local level, such a great story as well. It shows that you can come here to this community, do great things for this community, and have it pay off in dividends. It can happen for you right here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. What a story. What a story. More to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. Stick with us. We're back in a moment. 92.9 KVRE.
Second quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, the bracket is set. The final 12-team CFP bracket was released last week during the selection show on ESPN. Now, 12 teams vying for the opportunity to be crowned national champions in NCAA college football. But as we saw a year ago, the story continues to be not which teams are in and which team might win it all. The story, unfortunately, is the teams that were not included in the big dance. Some of the big controversy sparking major debate in this second year of this college football playoff structure has Notre Dame sitting out and not in. Alabama is in despite 3 losses, and Miami, who did not win the ACC. Fun fact, it was actually Duke. Duke is sitting at home. Miami is in, and many analysts are arguing that the CFP for the second consecutive year didn't get it right at all. A lot of inconsistencies. The eye test doesn't match up. Weird rematches, and Notre Dame sitting on the outside looking in. It's sparking the beginning of an additional problem in the CFP, not related to the top 12, but outside the top 12 with bowl games. Your initial thoughts on the release of the bracket?
Mark, I'm still in shock. I listened to it when they made the announcement, and I said, are you kidding? Wait a minute. And then I saw it again on paper the next day, and I'm like, no, they're not kidding. And this is a tragedy. I'll be honest with you, straight up tragedy. Now, how they come to this committee is beyond me. I'm not sure how they developed the committee. I think they've got it right or whatever. But like you said, this ain't the first year they've got it wrong. And this is just unbelievable. On the outside looking in, look at all the teams that shoulda, coulda, woulda. And then they definitely said 3 or 4 years ago, 3 lost teams are not, they can't get it there. They can't make it there.
Right.
Well, then here's Alabama all of a sudden.
Of all teams.
Of all teams.
Of all teams.
Of all teams.
It's Alabama.
It's Alabama. So let's roll, Tide, roll. Or roll out the red carpet, so to speak. What in the world is going on here? They get literally drummed by Georgia, and still they get in.
In the SEC championship game. Yes.
And then you got the likes of Vanderbilt, Brigham Young, and of course you alluded to Notre Dame, who went on a run, 0-2, then all of a sudden a run, and they get beat by top teams. Mm-hmm. And they're smudged, but I'm looking
even
at
Duke in the discussion. Duke, which okay, you could probably make the argument. Okay, maybe they wouldn't fare well in the top 12, but they did. The Blue Devils did run the table and win their conference championship.
Well, look who they beat, though. Look who they beat. Okay.
Yeah, Miami did not.
Miami did not.
The ACC conference champion that really had to climb a mountain to get there, let's be honest, is still sitting at home. So it raises a lot of questions. Strength of schedule, which is always going to be a factor.
Blah, 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 blah.
But now, conference championships, do they matter? How much do they matter? Because we see a team rise up from Nowhereville, USA, no offense to Duke fans, come in and do something special, and it still wasn't enough. You've got other teams in the mix here. Your Tulanes,
Oh boy,
what?
James Madison.
James Madison is in. Tulane is in. Why?
I wish I was Einstein. I would tell you.
So some conference championships matter, but not all conference championships matter. So why do conference championships matter at all? If the winner is not going to get in, not guaranteed a lock to get. Now it is for the big conferences, yes,
the big guys.
But for others, they're picking and choosing. It's going to,
okay, that makes sense.
It raises more questions than it answers, right? So, some of the ideas are, well, maybe we're on the right track up to 12 teams now. It wasn't 12 to begin with right now.
No.
Now it's like, well, what if we expanded to 16 teams? Wouldn't that fix this problem? I say yes and no. I say yes, these teams left on the outside looking in would be in, but it just pushes the bubble farther down. The bubble will always still exist, indicating how flawed this process are. You talk about the committee. Who is they? Who are they? Who are they? Well, we know who one of them is.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We know who one of them is. Yeah. And it's Hunter Yurachek, the athletic director for the University of Arkansas, who is anything but popular right now in Razorback Nation.
Not only in Arkansas,
and maybe now nationally, because and I'll be the first to say I don't envy anybody who's in this position, because it does come down to brass tacks, and it does come down to some difficult decisions. There was a very crowded bubble this year, and someone had to be left out. And I think the exclusion of Notre Dame sends a message as well, because Notre Dame, believe it or not, is an ACC school in every other sport except football, where they're the most famous independent team in the nation. So it sends a message, in my opinion. We need you to join a conference. You're in the ACC for all your other sports. Some people don't know that, but I know that.
What would that do, though? What would that do? What would that do? Why are they sending that message? I mean, what would that do? They've been in the playoffs every year. What
one of the strongest teams every year. Yeah.
What would that do to make them to commit to that? Because now you're saying, okay, let's go back a little bit. You remember a Florida team that ran the table on everybody?
Sure.
Just not too long ago and got snubbed.
Undefeated.
You got a TCU team with one loss that ran the table and won there, and then they got snubbed. So what is the rhyme or reason now for them to do that? And then you look at the other teams, like I said, the Brigham Youngs of the world, which I would just really, Vanderbilts of the world, who played in the SEC and only got beat by top teams.
Vanderbilt has a Heisman Trophy candidate. Heisman Trophy finalist.
You know, and then you're talking about Duke so much. Virginia, okay?
Virginia in the mix as well.
Who beat Texas Tech this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. That's a quality win.
Okay, so what is in the world thinking of these? You know what I feel like? I feel like we got a lot of questions with no answers is what I've got. And speaking of no answers, the committee answers to no one. They don't care.
Right.
That's the deal.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
That's the bottom line right there. They don't care.
And are we putting too much emphasis particularly on, let's face it, these are bubble teams and not so much on the teams that are in? Because in that 12-team mix, you have to agree are likely the best teams in the country. I mean, your Ohio State and Indiana matchup in that championship game, that was one for the ages. And you have to think that one of those two are probably the favorites to win it all. So good talent is being represented in the final bracket, but with some of the other additions in there, Tulane is in, James Madison is in, Alabama's in with 3 losses. You talk about if it comes down to, history and longevity in that dynasty aspect, Alabama is always there. They're a good. Notre Dame could be in the same position. You can make the same argument about Notre Dame and the success they've had sustained long term over the years.
Travel well, money.
I look at the Fighting Irish and I look at they're independent in football, and I look at that as a hindrance to everything they're doing. They're a good football team. Don't get me wrong. Arkansas knows that very, very well, painfully this year. But I can't help but go back and think that lack of a conference hurts them in the long run in football. I think it does. I think it leaves a negative connotation on what that program is and what that program could be. Okay, so Notre Dame is not in.
No.
And they're one of the first dominoes to also make news in this as well, because they're one of the first teams to come out and say,
yeah,
we're not going to play in a bowl game.
Yeah.
We're done. We're packing it up. Year over. Now, in the beginning, reaction to this was very negative. Very negative. They're crybabies. Look at them. They didn't get in, so look at the message they're sending. It's sad. These are still college athletes. Many of them may be playing for the very last time in their career. Not all of them are going to be going to the NFL.
Exactly. You got to look at it that aspect.
Are they being robbed of one last chance, one bowl game, one last game? Because they packed it up. They said no.
You think the coaches wouldn't talk to them about it?
Well, I do. I do believe so. But Notre Dame is not the only team that has followed suit here.
No.
Because here's the deal. If you're not in the 12, you can make the argument that there's not really anything special to play for other than the sentimentality of getting one more shot at the game, which I will say is important to some players. It is important, but you're seeing a lot of teams follow suit. I'm done. No, you're going to throw me into this meaningless bowl game that's just going to make the NCAA a lot of money, and it puts my players at risk of getting hurt. They're still trying to get to the next level, whether it's NFL, semi-pro, whatever. One more game means one more opportunity for my guys to go out and get hurt. And coaches are deciding, you know what, for this meaningless little bowl game at the end, it's not worth it to me anymore. It's not worth it to me. What are your thoughts now? Because we knew that this was going to happen when they went to this more structured championship system. It really lowered the value of bowl games in the NCAA.
Not only the bowl games, but also, Mark, let's back up just a little bit, the playoffs, okay? Why do we have Oklahoma and Alabama playing again? That's already been done once.
The rematches.
The rematches.
The rematches.
Okay? And with the other ones, look at the other play. Okay? And by the way, I'm going to be at that game. So, and everybody knows, did they do it intentionally? Because you and I have talked about this, how tough it is to beat the same team twice in 1 year. We've talked about this time and time again. So did they do that intentionally? Although it's the first playoff game ever in Norman, it's going to be superhuman for anybody to be able to get through the
it's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal.
But let's go to the other thing, too. Mark, we're looking at an aspect, too, that we're going to have to come up and talk about it a little bit later on, too. But how many seniors, juniors, or whatever now, they're all ducking out if they're going to, if they're pro, think that they can play in the pros. But the NIL money's made it stupid as far as them. Now, you're seeing all these guys that are professional level. They're not playing in the bowls either.
Right.
They decide to opt out also. So that's another key factor that we got to talk about at some time. So no, even though the school, and let's make no bones about it, the school gets the money, not the players, not the coaches, the school. Now, in the professional aspect of it, when you go to the playoffs, you get a little bit here. You make it to the Super Bowl, you get a lot more. The players do, the coaches do. Here at college, you get to lace up one more time. And I talked about this one time. I remember the last time I laced up. After that game, I cried like a baby.
I can imagine.
22 years, never again.
I remember my last game. I cried my last game too.
So what are we missing here? We're missing the aspect of the dollar. That's what it all boils down to, is the dollar, and what these big businesses, because that's basically what these colleges are. They're big business. That's what it boils down to, Mark. And we could talk about this for eons and days and for whatever, but that's simply a big time effort for a coach to stand up, or the AD, and you've been around this aspect, you know about it, for them to stand up and say, we're not going to take it anymore. It's an old rock and roll song.
And they risk fines.
And they risk, everything. Dude, not only fines.
And they're being fined.
They're contracts.
That's right.
I'm telling you, you do this, you stand up against the big boys. And I'm not going to say the sponsors, but look at the bowls now. Are they the Cotton Bowl anymore? No.
Well, some of them are.
Wow. They all got a sponsor now.
But you're right.
They all have a sponsor. It's not just the Cotton Bowl. It's not just the Rose Bowl. It's the blank, blank, blank bowl now.
Sure.
And that's what it's all boiled down to, is big money.
You mentioned some of these matchups, Alabama and Oklahoma, probably the most exciting round one matchup here. Of course, Oklahoma won the earlier matchup in Tuscaloosa, and that really sparked the Sooners' rebirth as a playoff contender. This one could be a low-scoring defensive affair, defined by the team that wins the turnover battle. And I think that might favor Alabama. This should be, regardless of your thoughts on the Crimson Tide and whether or not they belong or not, this should be a good football game.
I hope so. I mean, I truly do. I hope so, in the best aspects for the game, for the sport. I really do, because as it is right now, like you said, but here's and we're going to go into this a lot deeper as we get closer to those bowls. But it's something that we all let's all sit back and take a look at this. And I'm not just talking about you and I. Everybody out there, there's been armchair quarterbacks out there in the world. Is this sport, is it losing something by what's going on right now? Should these guys that are sitting there, and I say those guys, should they start looking in the mirror a little bit and figuring out, is this what's good for the sport, for the industry? Or is this what's good for big business?
A lot of change in the past couple of years. A lot of change. Not everybody is on board with it. And of course, if we've learned anything, we knew that it wasn't going to be fixed in a day. We talked about this last year at the same time. With the first one. Is the system getting better, or is the system gotten worse since last year? Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's got worse as far as I'm concerned. I don't think they got it right in picking out the right teams that should be in here, the ones that earned. And I say earned, and there's different aspects you got to look at it as far as the way the credentials to be that team that gets in. And you said that maybe 16 teams. Is that going to help? They got 68, 72 now, or whatever it is in basketball.
Hey, they kept expanding March Madness, expanding. Why
not? I mean, if you're going to do this, you can do 20. Call it whatever bowl you want.
I mean,
you got 25 in the top 25. Duke wasn't even in the top 25 in the final count in that poll. But so why not make it the best of the best of the best? Go to 20. What does it matter? Go to 25. They're all playing bowl games. I know you'd have to ask the big businesses.
Or make all the bowl games meaningful. And maybe this is just literally off the dome, and it's probably a really dumb idea. But what if you're bowl eligible? Awful. Maybe you need to up the stakes on what it takes to be bowl eligible, and then put every bowl eligible team in the bracket. That's a lot of teams. I understand it's a lot, but if you up the win requirement to be bowl eligible, maybe that makes it more of a clearly defined black and white line. You cross the line, that's it. You're in. You didn't get there, you're not in. And then from there, you play the game and you move on.
So you're telling me
winner goes on, loser goes home.
But the situation with that is football is a more physical game than basketball, and
Creates a lot more games,
the
a lot more
turnaround
rounds.
time. The turnaround time is not going to be there, Mark. There's no way.
Yeah.
That's what everybody in Vegas is looking at right now. You're looking at Alabama, Georgia. Georgia gets a bye, but Alabama doesn't, and they're going into a 1 week of rest before they have to go. 2 weeks rest before they go to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
They got an extra game under their belt.
Right.
And that may be something because it's a physical game when you get to that level.
And maybe it'll never be a perfect system.
No, well, it's flawed, and I don't see. There's like I said earlier, we've got more questions than we have answers, and you and I are not going to be the deciding factor on it. But hopefully, somebody out there will make the right decision, and not only just for the namesake of football, for NCAA football and everybody that's involved in it, the young men that are out there doing their best every day, the coaches of the world that are trying to make a difference, and the guys like Rich Thompson, trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they get it right.
Let us know your thoughts. Is the CFP moving in the right direction? You can text the show anytime, 501-915-1300. More to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. We deep dive into the NFL when we return on 92.9 KVRE.
Third quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE. Tracy, time to dive into the NFL. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked about the National Football League. There's some big stories going down. Some positive, some not so positive.
Right.
A key injury in the NFL last week has really taken the AFC by storm, really shaken things up a little bit. Daniel Jones, done for the year with an Achilles injury, a devastating blow for Indianapolis, and a ripple effect on the upcoming quarterback market. But for a long time, Indianapolis was the team to beat, the best team in football. Now, that looks like that's in jeopardy. Not only are their title hopes being dashed, but potentially their playoff hopes as well. They're bringing in old faithful Phillip Rivers.
He's 44 years old.
And fun fact, he can almost field an entire football team under his roof on its own. Phillip Rivers coming in. The Colts now, unfortunately, playing second fiddle to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, only one team's making it out of that division, and it's who wins that division. Is this doom and gloom for Indy?
Yes. I mean, you can't just end the rock off to your because they're just stacking and waiting for them to hand off
For Richardson, the running back.
Yeah, and so what do you do? And not that, and I was thinking about this from the other night, Mark. Jones was on such a high from leaving a Giants team that was just decimal,
Abysmal.
I mean, unbelievable, right? And so now he was on, and then the Achilles. Oh man, you felt for him. But my question to you: why would they bring in a 44-year-old? I know their rookie got hurt. But how many other quarterbacks are out there that have still in their prime? Well, not only that, but they've been practicing. He's been out for 4 years, not even on nowhere. And you bring, I understand that they're similar as far as offense. He knows it,
Yeah.
to a certain level.
Yeah. I mean, very similar to his time,
But
in the NFL.
Mark, 40. And I mean, then you got Aaron Rodgers over at Pittsburgh. Discount, double check.
Hey, you may have just answered your own question. Okay, we knew Tom Brady did it at an elite. I know he's different. He's upper echelon. No, there's no equal to Tom Brady. That's fine. But he's proven that he can do it in his 40s. Aaron Rodgers is, I mean, the Steelers are leading the division. He rushed for a touchdown. Like, it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. It is up there with the crazy, though. But Phillip Rivers is a proven winner. Indianapolis is sending the message, I think, by bringing Rivers in that they don't need someone to come in and take over and be the guy. They just need someone to be enough of the guy to help get them across the finish line. And that looks like what they're doing here. Some other teams also, the Packers beating the Bears last week. Big story there. That number 1 seed in the NFC has changed hands so much. Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Green Bay, Chicago. It still sits with the Rams right now, who have a big game this week. The Rams and the Lions, it's the quarterback bowl out there, the big quarterback swap, which ultimately may go down and define both of these organizations in the NFL. Stafford and Goff squaring off. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to I think the Rams are on a roll, but not only that, but his receiving core. I know that the Lions they're starting to get back to full strength again. But when you go head to head, I think it's just a ploy tactic, the quarterback swap like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I just think the Rams defense. I think their defense. And I don't know if they're still making the right calls on offense for the Lions. We had the call change there.
That's right. He's at the Bears now.
And And I still think there's a lot of mixed match up there, and they're not sure about the plays they're doing. I've got to run with the Rams right now because I think they know what's at stake. And not that the Lions don't either. But golly, Seattle, Rams, 49ers, that's nip and tuck there.
NFC West is very powerful. Look, the Los Angeles Rams may very well be the best team in the NFL, and they may just go on to win the Super Bowl this year, plain and simple. The Lions are currently sitting on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff picture. Must-win game if you're Detroit.
It's in L.A. too.
It is in L.A. Must-win game if you're Kansas City. You're at home. You've got the Chargers, who, fun fact, did just beat the Philadelphia Eagles in overtime to keep their playoff hopes alive. Denver's dominating this division. Look like they're going to run away with it. So these teams desperately clinging to all hope to try to get a wild card spot. Look, Chiefs need this win to stay alive, plain and simple. Their playoff streak is in real danger right now with their record right now. The Chargers can actually eliminate the Chiefs with a win and a little help elsewhere in the league. It's Mahomes versus Herbert. Who comes out on top in this one? Both teams really fighting for their future.
I was really surprised to see Herbert play the other night, of course, with his hand all done up and everything like that. Chiefs go after his hand. They obviously going to blitz from the blind side on him. He's not as mobile. And if Mahomes can get anybody to catch a dadgum ball, he's still Mahomes. I don't care. He did not lose that game the other night. Obviously, we saw how many drops. It's been played over and over and over. Kelsey sitting there on the sidelines in a somber moment. But, you know, they're professionals. They can't drop that many passes. Rice, the rest of them, they'll come back. And if nothing else, they'll make it more interesting. It's in Kansas City. I'm still just amazed how is that a cast he's got on, or is it just a glove, or what is that he's got? I don't know what it is.
Oh, no, it's like an iron hand,
yeah,
if anything.
It looks like
Herbert.
a big old, an iron hand. But I know they're professionals, and you and I talked about this at the beginning of the year. He always getting hurt, man. The guy he can't stay away from it.
I know.
But I just don't see, a play here, a play there, and they beat the Eagles barely the other night. But I think Kansas City's going to come after him.
It's more indicative of Philadelphia being in a really bad place right now than Los Angeles being the better team here. AFC East title is going to be decided this weekend. Bills at Patriots. Patriots can clinch the division with a win. They're riding a 10-game winning streak. Bills are fighting to stay alive. It's Drake May versus Josh Allen. Who do you like? It's in Foxborough.
Yeah, no doubt. But you know what? Here's the key. Here's the key to this whole thing: is that Josh is mountains and valleys, up and down,
That's
up
right.
and down, and just come off that huge. Win obviously was not him doing. I mean, I know he came back and it was Joe Burrow throwing an interception. But in the weather, and yes, the weather's going to be a factor here, but that's nothing new for these two teams. But I think defense has been the lead, and I know they got the great quarterback, the rookie quarterback. But boy, I've been on your bandwagon since the very beginning with the Patriots. And I like Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong. I see the Patriots just rolling on this, man. Their defense is stingy right now.
Yeah.
One of the best in the league.
Very, very good.
I'm going with them, man. I'm going with them.
One more to look at.
And you know that Buffalo's favored in that?
I know it.
4.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're sleeping on the Patriots. Last one, Ravens at Bengals. The Ravens are sliding hard. They've lost 2 in a row. They're under 500 this late in the season for the first time in the Lamar Jackson era. Joe Burrow's back, and he looks pretty good at the helm of the Cincinnati Bengals. They need nothing short of a miracle to make the playoffs, but you're saying there's still a chance. There's still a chance. Baltimore has lost its identity. 2 weeks ago, they played this Bengals team, and it was ugly. It was really ugly. Ravens at Bengals. What you got?
Can Lamar throw 3 more interceptions in one game? I don't know about that. I do know this, though. You're right. It's Joe. And a couple of mishaps in the other game, he still wins that of the game the other day in the snow. I think it's going to be a Joe day. Lamar's just not, I don't know what's going on in his head right now. It's obviously not football, but I'm rooting for the Bengals, man.
I think the Bengals take this one. I picked the Ravens to make the Super Bowl, if you remember that. But,
I know you did.
I'm not confident in this Baltimore team at all.
England and Denver in the big playoff.
Right now. More to come on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. Our local roundup is next on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE. Tracy, we'd like to congratulate once again Lakeside High School. The Rams going to War Memorial Stadium last weekend, put their heart out there, put everything on the line, and came up just short in their first title appearance since 1974. 5. And I know that the Rams have to be feeling it and feeling that sting of that painful championship loss so close. And I believe in this coaching staff and Coach Garen Rockwell getting this team better every single year. It's hard to do that as a high school coach, and I'm really excited. I know for these seniors, they say farewell to the game that they love on the high school level. Many of them are heading to the next level, including one heading up to the Hill in the NWA. You really felt for the Rams in this one with the loss. I think the future is exceptionally bright for this program.
Most definitely. Coach Rock's in the right direction, no doubt. And I know it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but you know what? You're exactly right, Mark. Unbelievable year for those kids and all the program. It's just going to be a brighter year next year. They lost some seniors, but I know this. They've got a junior class and a sophomore, but their junior high did really well this year and are going to make a major impact for that team again. So, but you know what I think? Actually, all the teams that were a part of this deserve big credit. We had some great teams from around the area.
We really did.
That were in the playoffs, and congratulations to all of them. You know, no doubt this afternoon is going to be some unbelievable, the 3 and 4A.
Yes.
And you know, congratulations to Dardanelle up there. Big season. Elks are, you know, the Elk and Elks, man. We'll see what happens with that one, but the Sand Lizards are doing real well. And then we go all the way down in Fordyce and see if they can pull off a tough one against Mansfield this afternoon. So we'll see what happens.
And, of course, we're still working to gather our list of all of our all-state honorees. And congratulations to Coach Daryl Burnett of Hot Springs World Class High School, one of the runners, one of the finalists for Coach of the Year this year. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver.
Oh, Mark, let me throw one more in there. How about Arkansas School for Mathematics and Sciences doing the esports championship?
I have a house full of gamers, and I love this so much. Congratulations to all the teams as well. That's a really big deal for the city of Hot Springs to host that.
It is, man. Anyway, good Saturday, buddy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. That's our show. We're here every Saturday at 10 a.m. at Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, and we'll see you next week.
Game over.